to share one of the most wild energy scans that I have ever done before. And I wanted to share because there's a lot of pertinent information that might help you on your journey as well. So before we get into it, this is with my friend Kimberly. She is a very advanced light language channeler, very skilled at that amongst a lot of other magical things as well. She's great. So if you feel called and you're like, wow, this person sounds amazing and you want to work with her, I'm going to tag her up here and in the description below. She's awesome. And Kimberly and I have worked together in many different capacities just in life as well. So I was able to get like really deep in her chakra scan. And I went in with the intention to do a multidimensional chakra scan. But for her, we were actually transcended above her chakras. And so I was going in as like portals through them, but they weren't really her chakras, if that makes sense. This is about to be very funny. Okay. She had some like really wild things going on. Okay. So I went into her root chakra. I saw some like moon dust on my hands and I was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden I was on the moon and I saw somebody putting a flag down and I was like, am I at the moon landing right now? And then I saw myself as like this bug almost that was like crawling around and I was looking at like an astronaut, right? And I was like, oh my God, I'm at the moon landing. Like, am I this creature? And then all of a sudden there was like this glitch that happened, you know, like, or like all this like spliced time and I was falling down a hole. And then when I got to the bottom, I was in this, room and it was a rave, like all the different lights and the music playing. And there was all these beings that were there and they were like laughing, like snickering at me. And I was like, where am I? What is going on? And they're like, oh, silly human. And I was like, was I just at the moon landing? And they're like, nothing is real. Nothing is real. Everything is a projection. Everything is a hologram. Like, no. And they said that they were just trying to get me down here and they thought it would be funny. And I was like, okay, practical jokers. Okay, I'm on Impractical Jokers. Okay. And I asked, where are we? And they said, well, where do you want to be? And I said, okay, with the ambiguous philosophical questions. And they were like, we're outside of time and space. We're beings that don't operate there. And I said, oh, cool. And they said, Kimberly is actually one of us. That's why you're here, so that you can tell her that. And I said, okay. And they didn't really give me like a whole lot of other information, but I said, while I have you, if you operate outside of time and space, I was telling them what I do, like with the Akashic records and people's fields. And I said, can you give me an upgrade? And they were like, well, why do you want one? And I said, okay, if I can step outside of the Akasha field, because there's other fields above that, I said I can have access to a lot more information and help the advanced healers advance their Akasha fields and help them connect outside of it as well, so that we can push forward our collective experience in the timeline that me and Kimberly are in. And they said, okay. And then they touched me on my forehead, like right here. And then all of a sudden I shot out into space and I was just kind of floating around and I was like, thank you. And then this little star like sparkled and basically them saying like, got it, to another portal. And I could see light language coming down and it was almost like Niagara Falls. And Kimberly and I were talking to like another person the other day and I was helping this person heal their inner children or their inner child while Kimberly was giving them light language to help with things. And I saw Kimberly's light language before, but I didn't realize like it was hers. I just saw light language. And so I went back in today. It was basically like being at the bottom of Niagara Falls. Like it was just pouring like so intensely down. And then Thor showed up, like the god Thor, and I was like, hey, and he said that he was there to help me check everything and make sure everything was working as it should, or if we could make improvements or help open up her channels. And so me and him were like walking around, and then I asked if Kimberly, like the etheric version of her, could come inside, and he was like, yeah. So we were all talking together and we were just like staring at all of this light language and it was so intense. And then Kimberly's like oversoul was like, no, everything's fine, I just wanted to show you this so you can relay it to her, that she's going to be tapping into this immense amount of power within her. And then Thor, we asked if he could help us, you know, like go outside of this dimension. And he got like super big. And then I was like in one of his arms, almost like a baby almost, and Kimberly in the other one. And we were like pretending like we were damsels, like, ooh. and then I portaled out and then we went to the next. Super interesting. So I was in like a forest, but it was almost like, you know, if you were like a bug, let's say, and you were under leaves, it would be very humid and like moist under there, and it was dark, but you could see. Okay, so that was kind of like the atmosphere, and I got stuck and I couldn't move. Like and I was like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden I felt like I was turning into a mushroom. Like my whole entire body was converting into one. But then I looked down at my hands and I realized it was a coating that was being placed over me, and it was filaments is what they said. They were cleaning filaments, and basically Kimberly has a portal inside of herself to this dimensional space, and it's part of her arca structure. And so when she's working with clients, it's basically like when you see in the movies and you have to go through like a almost like CDC like cleansing room where it cleanses all the things off of you. I'm trying to think what the name is. I can't remember. But anyway, we all know what that is. So the mushroom things were cleaning everything, the microbes. And they said that she does this with all of her clients, and that ability will continue to grow. And then all of a sudden there was this little bug on my shoulder, and the bug asked me if it could go with me for the rest of the journey. And I was like, sure. So then all of a sudden I was looking through this paper towel tube and I turned into Kimberly. And when I looked through it, I could see a dome that was made out of sea glass. And so I went through the portal with the bug on me, and then I'm at the dome and I'm trying to get inside and I can't see. And then I realized why the bug was with me, because he saw like a little crack in the dome and he could see inside. And so I turned into the bug, like morphed into him, and then went through into the dome, and there was these beings in there, and there was all these like it was like an oasis, like the Garden of Eden. And there was like all these plants, and I can't even describe them. They were just like so magical and things I had never seen before. And there was these beings in there, and I couldn't see them, I could just hear them, and they were saying that people were not allowed to come in there. That's why the bug had to come, because I had to turn into the bug. And they said only organic matter was allowed in there. And I was like, well, people are organic, or other beings. And they're like, no. And I couldn't really understand what they were saying, but they were saying that the observer effect would shift how the planets are interacting. And I said, or not the planets, the plants are interacting. And I said, oh, okay, so it would shift their DNA. And they were like, yeah, so that's why only like plants and bugs can be in here and things like that. Okay, because they're transcendent above languaging and they don't perceive things in the same manner. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And then Kimberly came forward, like in her actual like human form as she is now, and we were talking with each other, and she said, I'm the keeper of this garden. And I said, oh, interesting. And I asked what they were going to end up doing with the plants, and they said they're still in testing phases, and that they're end up going to be sending them out to like different people in the cosmos, like different species and things like that, because they're going to help them repair their light body and give upgrades and activations. But they're still like in the testing phase. So all really good stuff. But she's the keeper of this garden, and there's a portal within her that she can access. And I gotta wrap this up quick, but we went into another portal where there was a tree, and I went inside of it, and I could see all of the tree's meridian lines, but it wasn't meridian lines. It was for the specific tree system. And I met with the tree spirit, and they said that all the trees on Earth are interconnected together. Not just, I know we've seen documentaries where it's saying like a forest of trees are interconnected. It said every single tree is, and they connect through this dimensional plane. And I could see the core, like the crystalline core, where they're all intersected. And they were saying that Kimberly has access into this dimension, and they wanted to show me too, so I could see how this works with one another, because mushrooms and trees are very close with one another, like cousins, and they help each other grow and interface. It was a big honor and a blessing to be there with all of the interconnecting tree spirits. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that happened that was super cool, but I've already almost hit 10 minutes here. So if you would like a session with Kimberly, again, she is such an incredibly beautiful healer. She is absolutely amazing, and she can help you shift with your gifts and unlock things. Again, I'll tag her here and below. And then if you would like a multidimensional chakra scan where I go in and tell you more things about yourself so you can understand yourself on a deeper level, lots of different things come up for different people. You can go to my profile and click, or check the description box here below. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them as well.